Hey guys, Letter Magic here. What's up, my fellow Vault Dwellers? It's time to take a look at the spoilers from the upcoming MTG Fallout Universes Beyond crossover. And I've already been warned by some people that these are completely insane. Now, we've seen probably about a dozen cards so far, so if you missed those, go watch the other videos. Otherwise, this is the first, main spoilers. So first up, we got Megaton's Fate, because of course you could detonate the bomb or you could not. So it's a 6-cost red sorcery. Choose one, disarm, destroy target artifact, and create 4 treasure tokens. Or detonate. Megaton's Fate deals 8 damage to each creature. Each player gets 4 rad counters. Oh my gosh. I think we do know what rad counters are, but I forgot. It's been quite a while since they first showed this off. Next up, we've got Inventory Management, the worst thing in the game, only because the game doesn't typically have feminists or vegans. So it's 1 white, 1 red, instant split second, which means that nothing can go on the stack above this, and for each aura and equipment you control, you may attach it to a creature you control. Oh, so you just shift them around. Holy crap. Now, I have an issue because it should say for 2 mana, split second instant, it should probably say equipped equipment. Because there's some stuff out there with really ridiculous equip costs, and a lot of it's artifacts, so you can drop it in for free. It's the easiest permanent to free cast, so this is a recipe for disaster. I don't like it. This is a little too messed up. You can stack it all up on one thing and take one shot. This looks a little OP. Next up, Strong Back, one of the perks you can get in at least some of the games. By the way, XL3 Ruined World let you take Bad Back, and it would actually lower your carrying capacity. But it took less XP to level. Oh yes, that game was amazing. So this is a 3-cost green enchantment aura. You enchant a creature, of course, and equip abilities you activate. That target enchanted creature costs 3 less to activate, which is, about as nuts as that other one. Aura spells you cast that target enchanted creature cost 3 less to cast, which you could build one broken deck just on the back, haha, pun intended, of this card. So we're already off to just this utterly ruining multiple decks, making them overpowered in multiple formats. I don't like it. Oh boy, but Enchanted Creature gets +2/+2 for each aura and equipment attached to it. Utterly out of control. This is insane. Next up, Blasphemous Act. Everybody knew the bombs were coming. Everybody but the public. Oh yes. Oh, they knew. Those Enclave dickbags. So it's an 8+1 red, but we all know it's going to get reduced. Red sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield, and Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage to each creature. This is a reprint, by the way. Next up, we've got Kate, Cage Brawler. Well, part-time Cage Brawler, full-time drug addict. So she's one of each Christmas color, legendary creature, human warrior, 1/1, and as long as it's your turn, Kate Cage Brawler has indestructible. And when she attacks, you and defending player each draw a card, then discard a card, put 2 1/1 counters on Kate if you discarded the card with the highest mana value among those cards or tied for highest. I'm not entirely sure who discards first or how you determine it. Oh, I'll start dropping bombs and you'll start dropping bombs. There's like 9 puns in that one. Next up, we've got Moira Brown, Überlebensführer Autorin, which of course stands for Robot Hitler. I don't know. Well, the English one says Survival Guide author. Well, she's red, white, +1, 2/3 legendary creature, human citizen, and when Moira Brown, Survival Guide author, enters the battlefield, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Wasteland Survival Guide, with equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each quest counter on permanents you control, and then equip 1. Whenever you attack, put a quest counter on target non-land permanent you control. Ooh, you can do some damage here, that'll build up. That's pretty good. Next up, it's Gunner Recruitin, which is pretty much just recruiter, but in a fantasy language that they completely made up just for this game. I think they call it Alemano, or is it German? Literally no human beings on the planet are going to get that joke. Anyway, it's a 2-cost 2/2 green creature human mercenary. So it has trample, but then Gunner Recruit gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it. I mean, you can see where this one's going. This whole, portion of this color set, I guess you would say. When Gunner Recruit dies, if it was enchanted, create a junk token, and when it dies, if it was equipped, create a junk token. What's a junk token? They're not going to tell you on the card. Next up, I'm never going to try that one because I forget what the squiggly bee does. I think it's an S or something, but anyway, it's Outcasts of the Brotherhood. As a half-German whose ancestors moved to Wisconsin, I'm kind of an outcast of the Brotherhood myself. So it's the 3-cost white creature human soldier, and when Brotherhood Outcast enters the battlefield, choose one. Return target aura or equipment card with mana value 1 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, or put a shield counter on target creature. I love shield counters. It's kind of like Ward, except a little more watered down and a little bit more fair. Well, done with this German crap, we're moving on to British English with Codsworth, Handy Helper. He's the 3-cost white 2/3 legendary artifact creature robot. Commanders you control have Ward 2, and if you tap him, you can add 2 white to your mana pool, hello, but only spend it to cast aura and or equipment spells because that's all you would ever want to do in this deck anyway. The other ability is tap him, attach target aura equipment you control to target creature you control, activate only as a sorcery. So we've had kind of recurring, resurrectable, portable auras and equipment before, but this alone, just what we've seen so far, is taking it to such a ridiculous level. I'm not even kidding, it's going to ruin multiple formats. So next we've got Sun-Scorched Divide. I'm not sure if this is a reprint or not, directly, but the concept is you pay 1, you tap it, and then you add you add 1 of one color, 1 of another. This happens to be red plus white. I'll just throw it out there. Ulysses was basically a self-deluded liberal arts philosophy major, but in the post-apocalyptic world, except very easily convinced wrong. So we've also got Overflowing Basin, that's the same pattern. Desolate Mire, so close, could have called it Desolator Mire. Ferris Lake, which I don't remember a lake that's magnetic, that actually doesn't even make sense. And then we're on Path of Ancestry. So this is actually a common, it's a land, and it enters battlefield tapped, but add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander's, scry 1. Oh, there's another staple that every single person in every single commander deck from, now until the end of time, unless it's mono, and even then you get the scry, would have to run. I bet this is going to be about $4. So next up we got Ash Barrens. You can bring it in untapped, tap it for colorless, but it also has basic land cycling 1. So discard it, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle, but you have to do that from hand. Then we've got Evolving Wilds. I'm not sure if that represents a Garden of Eden creation kit. I think it's just a whole bunch of radiation with stuff growing around it. But then there's also Terramorphic Expanse, because why not? Now, it says a new civilization was built bit by bit from the scrap of the old one. I don't remember anything with construction cranes or any city even remotely that large, so that is a complete lore break unless I'm missing something from Fallout 1 or 2 or something, which I could be, maybe. Speaking of exactly that, we've got Ian the Reckless. It's a 2-cost 2/1 legendary creature human warrior, and whenever Ian the Reckless attacks, if it's modified, you may have it deal damage equal to its power to you and any target. As in, you have to do both, but the whole thing is optional. So modified is equipment, auras, and counters. So pretty much done anything to them, you count it. Next up, Silver Shroud Costume, one of the biggest memes in Fallout 4. It's a 2-cost artifact equipment with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. That creature gains Shroud until end of turn. Because of course it does. So it can't be the target of spells or abilities. It's hexproof plus it includes you. I mean, that's the best way to describe Shroud. Nobody can target it with anything. So equipped creature can't be blocked, and equip 3. So this could just be lethal. I mean, a 2-cost, instant speed, you drop it, now all of a sudden they can't block it, and they've got 1/3 of a phase to stop it. Yeah, that's up there on the power level, especially considering commander damage. But anyway, next up we got Veronica, Dissident Scribe. Ooh, she been writing down them dank memes instead of actual lore. So it's a 3-cost red 3/3 legendary creature, human, artificer, rogue with menace. And whenever she attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And then whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards for the first time each turn, create a junk token. Finally get to find out what that is. It's an artifact with tap. Sacrifice this artifact. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So it's like a clue token, but like discount, and you don't have to pay for it. Next up, we got the Junk Jet, absolute classic from at least Fallout 4. I feel like it might have been in something else too, but it's a 2-cost red artifact equipment, and when it enters battlefield, create a junk token, of course. And then 3 mana, sacrifice another artifact, double equipped creature's power until end of turn, equip 1. So if you got 6 or 9 mana, you could double, which if you're not very good at math, is a lot. So I meant to say, like, even doing it twice is a lot, doing it 3 times is even more. So next up we got Animal Friend. Doesn't look very friendly to me, but it's a 2-cost green enchantment aura, because of course it is enchant creature. Enchanted creature has, whenever this creature attacks, put a 1/1 green squirrel creature token, or create one, not put it, whatever. Then put a 1/1 counter on that token for each aura and equipment attached to this creature other than Animal Friend. You're just going to cram a 50-50 down somebody's throat on like turn 5 with this deck, aren't you? Yeah, I'm kind of hating this. Next up, Ravages of War. Okay, there's a lot going on there. They blew it up. Those damn dirty apes blew it up. And then we got the Giddy Up Buttercup. We got the I totally identify as female probably the arms vendor from Fallout 4. I don't remember her name. Was it Cleo? I don't know. But yeah, you pay 4, one of which is white, and you destroy all lands. Now, here's where they've kind of lost me. If that sounds familiar, that is literally the card Armageddon. Same cost, same speed, same wording. So this looks like some kind of funny alternate frame thing, except they didn't put a little, drop down on the bottom that says Armageddon. So is this not Armageddon? In other words, you could have this plus Armageddon in a deck. I hope not, because it's kind of a dickish card anyway. Next up, War Room. Oh boy, it's a land. You can bring it in on tap it for colorless, and if you pay 3, tap it, pay life equal to the number of colors in your commander's color identity, and then draw a card. Power to the mono, let's go. So this is some kind of release promo. It just says release, and then it's number 1068. How the hell big is this set? Unless this is from a promotional series, but it's got the same set thing, who knows? Nobody knows. Literally nobody. I bet half the staff at WotC doesn't know. And not only because 30% of them just got fired. Next up, Centurion of the Marked, which is Lord of the Undead. See, they got that little drop down, so it's a reprint of Lord of the Undead. Yeah, they didn't do that for the Armageddon one. I'm deeply confused. But, okay, it's double black plus 1 creature zombie. Other zombie creatures get +1/+1. And if you pay 2, tap it, return target zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's just your Lord's Plus card. Pretty good. Very good card. Next up, we got Scrounging Deathclaw. I think we might have already seen this. It is Tarmogoyf. I might be confused because we saw Alpha Deathclaw, but yeah, this is just Tarmogoyf, which you might think, oh, Tarmogoyf, that's a really expensive card. I think Tarmogoyf's like $7. That might be buy list price, but when it's not $200, I don't really care. That's how far things have fallen off since like MM2. Which, by the way, arguably upped the price of Tarmogoyf. Then they printed it again and a couple more times. Now it's like $7. It's not because they printed it. Okay, it's not the volume, it's the demand. It's the number of players, and it's the power creep. Unfortunately. There are things in Standard that with a combo are more powerful than that. Next up, we got Ruinous Ultimatum. This is, of course, a reprint. Never did really like these, and they weren't worth very much. But yeah, it's 2 black, 3 white, 2 red. So almost impossible to cast. Although, Commander throwing every fixer ever, okay. But sorcery, destroy all non-land permanents your opponents control. That's right, an asymmetric board wipe for 7. So it's like in Garruk's Wake, but triple colored, 0 colorless, and 2 less. This is one spicy monkey. And people just absolutely love it when you clone this spell on the stack. Next up, we got Legate Lanius, Caesar's Ace. More like Caesar's replacement after I fired a nuke directly in his face. So it's black, red, +2, 2/2, legendary creature, human soldier, Decimate. When Legate Lanius enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices 1/10 of the creatures they control, rounded up. So, not many. And then whenever an opponent sacrifices a creature, put a 1/1 counter on Legate Lanius. Next up, it's a Powder Ganger from New Vegas. It's a 3-cost red 2/2 creature human rogue with Squad 2. Haven't seen that in a while. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may pay 2 any number of times. When this creature enters the battlefield, create that many tokens that are copies of it. So when Powder Ganger enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target artifacts, and you're taking out all them artifacts. And then you've got an army of nearly useless 2/2s, but damn it, you blew some stuff up. Next up, we've got Guardian Project, which I'm going to say Fallout 3? I don't quite remember. I might be confusing that with the water thing, but it might be the water thing. I don't know. Anyway, it's a 4-cost green enchantment rare, and whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it doesn't have the same name as another creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, draw a card. And that actually is a reprint. I guess they just had a name collision there. Well, isn't that fortuitous? So last time we saw it was Ravnica Allegiance. Next up, Nuclear Fallout. That's an interesting scene. That don't look like no ghoul I've ever seen, but okay, sure. So it's 2 black plus X sorcery. Each creature gets twice -X until end of turn. Each player gets X red counters. What are they? Nobody knows. You expect the card to explain to you? No, they need 5 lines of flavor text. Which I guess I'm obligated to read them. The end of the world occurred as predicted. Too many humans, not enough space or resources to go around. Wrong, it was the aliens and the Enclave that started the war. The details are trivial and pointless, except that they aren't, because the Enclave or the aliens started the war. The reasons, as always, purely human ones. Except it was probably the Alameos that started the war. Possibly with the help of the Enclave. So that's just lies. Next up, we got Hancock, Ghoulish Mayor. And totally based-ass ghoul pirate wannabe. So it's a 3-cost black 2/1 legendary creature zombie mutant advisor from Fallout 4, of course. Each other creature you control that's a zombie or mutant gets +X, where X is the number of counters on Hancock, Ghoulish Mayor. And then Undying, which is one of the most broken mechanics, but, on 1 card in 1 set, that's meant to be eternal, that's fine. So, when this creature dies, if it had no 1/1 counters on it, return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it. If you have a way to remove it, you've got an infinite creature with an infinite death loop. Next up, Mechanized Production, of course, a reprint. So, I'm not even going to read it. You guys know what Mechanized Production does at this point. It wasn't that long ago. Then we got Solemn Simulacrum, another reprint. Very, very famous reprint. So, once again, I'm not really going to read it. You should probably know what the card does. If you're new to the game, that's cool, though. Just, pause it. But then we've got Open the Vaults. It's a 6-cost white sorcery. Return all artifact and enchantment cards from all graveyards to the battlefield under their owner's control. So that could kind of backfire a little bit. And then auras with nothing to enchant remain in graveyards. I don't think that's the rule. Now, whatever they write on the card is the rule, but I think normally it would enter the battlefield, fail to find a target, then go back to the graveyard. But then you would get like an ETB trigger, you would get a leave the battlefield trigger, and it might get a little nuts. And that's from the game that shall not be named. So next up, Vault 112, Sadistic Simulation. I think I remember this one. So it's a saga, and chapter 1 and 2 are tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it. You get 2 energy, nice. And then 3, pay any amount of energy. If you paid 1 or more energy this way, shuffle your library, then exile that many cards from the top. You may play one of those cards without paying its mana cost. A little bit of an energy gamble, okay. The pin down is cool. The free cast is just nice and it's kind of balanced. Next up, Nick Valentine, Private Eye. And that's Cheryl from accounting or whoever that is. I forget. So it's a 3-cost 2/2 blue legendary artifact creature synth detective. Ooh, detective tribal. I'm going to hire him to investigate why anybody should give a crap about MCAM. So he can't be blocked except by artifact creatures, which I think is fear. I thought there was one that you can't be blocked by except by artifacts, another one that's artifacts or black creatures, and both of them were really high on the storm scale, if I'm remembering this correctly. So naturally, here it is as a reprint. Compliments of probably Mark Rosewater. So when Nick Valentine or another artifact creature you control dies, you may investigate. Oh boy, totally worth it. Next up, Liberty Prime recharges, red, white, and blue because damn right it is. 5 cost, 8/8, legendary artifact creature robot. I bet he runs on energy. Vigilance, trample, haste, and when he attacks or blocks, sacrifice it unless you pay 2 energy. I called it. Then if you tap him, sack an artifact, you get 2 energy because apparently he has a Mr. Fusion built in from Back to the Future that can digest artifacts. And of course the flavor text is democracy is non-negotiable. That's right, stupid commies. Starting the war just because the A-LMAOs told you to. Next up, Soul Ring. If you don't know what this does at this point, I can't help you. Hey look, it's Arcane Signet. Oh boy. And then there's Heroic Intervention. Now that absolutely is a reprint there. It's a 2 cost green instant. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Very, very, very good green counterspell. Next up, Pure Steel Paladin. It's a 2 cost double white 2/2, nice human knight creature. And whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. And then Metalcraft, equipment you control, have equipped 0 as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. Oh, I haven't seen Metalcraft in a while. Holy crap. Here's the funny part. Pure Steel Paladin already was a card. This is a reprint. Next up, Perception Bobblehead. I believe we've seen 1 or 2 of them so far. I think the last one was Luck. But this one, it's a 3-drop, colorless, so you can put it in anything. Add 1 mana of any color, nice. And then if you pay 3 and tap it, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of bobbleheads you control. You may cast a spell with mana value 3 or less from among them without paying its mana cost. Always super fair. I mean, it is mana value 3 or less, but still. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I don't love it, but at least it's limited. Next up, oh, they did it. 3 Galaxy News DJ. They didn't put enough E's in it. What are they doing anyway? 3 cost, 1 generic, 1 red, 1 white, legendary, you're damn right creature, human bard. Why? They had to ruin it, didn't they? So he's a 1/5. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2 and sacrifice an aura attached to 3 Galaxy News DJ. When you sacrifice an aura this way, for each other attacking creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that aura attached to that creature. Because auras weren't out of control enough already. I mean, it's a one-shot. You gotta line it up, but yeah, you can get her done there. Then you get all the equip and ETB effects. Oh, you can just ruin someone. Next up, it's Idolized. It's a 2 cost white enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has whenever this creature attacks alone, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of non-land permanents you control, which is pretty much just like super exalted. Oh, pardon me, mega exalted. When you do morph and then you do mega morph, they've set a precedent here, even though the person who invented it will report you to HR because that's being transphobic. I wish I was kidding. You cannot mention how stupid that name is and how the community thought it was idiotic, or you are being transphobic. What a victim complex. Now, I could have sworn this was a reprint, but not from what I'm seeing. So, all right. Next up, we got Commander Sofia Daguerre. Must be a Fallout 2 thing or something. 4 cost, white 1/3 legendary creature human pilot with flash, crash landing. When Commander Sofia Daguerre enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target legendary permanent I assume that she crashed into. That permanent's controller creates a junk token. That is awesome. I love it. And that is it for today, but I assume there's more coming. I think I saw a longer schedule than this. So, subscribe for more epic coverage of this epic set. What do you think of the power level so far? I think auras are completely out of control. I mean, any format can have all the kill spells it wants in it now at this point, or pin down, bounce, whatever you want. You know, any kind of control, creature-based control, targeted individual control, that'll shut someone down. But if you can start shifting stuff around and playing a little shell game with it, it's a little nuts. But, I mean, take everything you saw about auras and equipment in this whole set so far and compare it to just slivers as a tribal. Okay, the power level is pretty high. The bar is pretty high for Commander. And I don't care how high the bar is, I'm going to jump up, grab it, and beat you in the face with it if you're playing slivers. Because you're clearly a deranged psychopath. But not if you leave a like and subscribe. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.